This video covers the tangents and reciprocal functions. Please make sure to check your announcements. Make sure that you know your due dates and deadlines, all that good stuff. So in this section, the most important formula here is that the tangent is the sine divided by the cosine. These other ones I kind of redefined back in 7b, which is where you just take the function and flip it upside down. I find that is nicer than 1 divided by. But whatever formula floats your boat. So this section really relies heavily on your unit circle. All right, remember this bad boy right here? Hopefully you have it filled out in your notes and you can find the values very easily. All right, so the tangent of 5 pi over 6 is going to be equal to the sine of 5 pi over 6 divided by the cosine of 5 pi over 6. Okay, so I'm going to grab my unit circle. I'm looking for 5 pi over 6. 5/6 is less than this, so there it is. Okay, so the sine is 1/2 and the cosine is negative root 3 over 2. So I have 1/2 divided by negative root 3 over 2. Now, when y'all kids are in middle school or whatever, you probably had a teacher who taught you copy dot flip. That's what I'm doing here. So I have 1/2, changing it to multiplication, and I'm multiplying by the reciprocal of negative root 3 over 2. So that turns into negative 2 over root 3. Now, in this case, these bad boys flip over, or cancel each other out, and I'm left with negative 1 over root 3. But remember, we don't like a radical in the denominator of our fraction, so you have to rationalize it, which is where I multiply by root 3 over root 3. So when I do that, let's get rid of that equal sign. Oh, I don't like how I did that. There we go. So when I do that, I get negative root 3 over 3. Sorry, I thought I muted this guy from texting me, but whatever. All right. So now let's talk about the tangent of negative 3 pi over 2. It's all the same thing, okay? So I'm going to find the sine of negative 3 pi over 2, and I'm going to divide it by the cosine of negative 3 pi over 2. So when I find those two values, okay, negative 3 pi over 2 is actually kind of hard for us to find because we don't know what that angle measure is. There's no negative on this. Okay, so I have a couple options. Okay, I can recognize that pi over 2 is 90 degrees and go backwards 90 degrees 3 times, which is what I'm going to do. Or you could find your, what was it called? You could find your coterminal angle by adding 2 pi to that. All right, so you start here. So there's negative 1 pi over 2, negative 2 pi's over 2, negative 3 pi's over 2. So I'm looking here at 90 degrees. So the sine is 1 and the cosine is 0. Okay, so the sine here is 1, the cosine is 0, but you can't divide by 0. That's a no-no. So when you get an answer that says it's divided by 0, your answer is now undefined. I'm just going to highlight my answers. I think that's a good idea for y'all. Okay. So now cosecant, okay? Cosecant is related to the sine. So if I know what the sine of 135 degrees is, I can go ahead and find that reciprocal by flipping it upside down, and that'll get me my cosecant. So 135 degrees is here. So the sine is the y value, which is root 2 over 2. Now the reciprocal function means that you flip that upside down. So the cosecant of 135 degrees is equal to 2 divided by root 2, but we don't like that. That's icky, right? Because we have a radical in the bottom. So I'm going to multiply by root 2 over 2 to get rid of it. So I have the cosine. Oh, not cosine. Miss Caswell. Shame. Cosecant, right? That didn't delete. Yeah, usually when I squiggle over it, it deletes. I don't know what's wrong with it. The cosecant. Watch those letters, right? That'll get you. So when you do this, I get 2 root 2 over 2. But these 2's will cancel each other out, right? Because if you have one in the numerator and one in the denominator, they equal 1. And that gives me root 2. That's nice. Now the secant is 1 over the cosine, so it's when you flip the cosine upside down. So I need to go ahead and find the cosine of 5 pi over 3. So I go to my unit circle. 5 pi over 3 is bigger than 1. It's right here. So the cosine is 1/2, because that's the x value. So the secant then of 5 pi over 3 is the reciprocal of that, 2 over 1, which is just 2. You have to put it in that simplest form. You can't put it just over 1. That's a no-no. All right, so now we're going to do the tangent. So the tangent of 3 pi is the same as the sine of 3 pi divided by the cosine of 3 pi. Now 3 pi is 180 degrees. All right, so here's 1 pi. Here's 2 pi. That means this is 3 pi. Okay, so the sine here is 0 and the cosine is -1. So the tangent of 3 pi then, which I probably should put those in parentheses, 0 divided by anything is 0. So that actually simplifies really well. All right, so the tangent of 120, again, I'm going to find the sine of 120 and divide it by the cosine of 120. So I go to my unit circle. 120 degrees is here. So the sine is root 3 over 2, and the cosine is -1/2. So I have root 3 over 2 divided by -1/2. So I'm going to copy dot flip that. Don't lose your negative sign. The 2's here cancel each other out, right? So this turns into negative root 3 over 1, which is just negative root 3. So I'm going to say the tangent of 120 degrees equals negative root 3. So dividing the fractions can be yucky for kids. You guys get a little nervous about that, but it's not too bad. So the cotangent is the inverse of the tangent. So if the tangent is the sine divided by the cosine, if I flip that bad boy upside down, I'll get the cosine divided by the sine. Okay? So come over here, go to, oh crap, that's 300 degrees, 300 degrees. Okay? So my cosine is 1/2. My sine is negative root 3 over 2. So I have 1/2 over negative root 3 over 2. So I'm copy dot flipping that, right? Now to save myself time here, okay, because I don't want to do another step and I'm lazy, right? I recognize that that root 3 is in the denominator. So I'm just going to right away multiply by root 3 over root 3 just to rationalize it. And that'll make my life a little easier. So in the numerator, I have negative root 3. And in the denominator, I have root 3. And that's my cotangent. I'm going to scoot that over and put my little cotangent notation on there so that I know that I, found what I was looking for. All right, one more time, cosecant. So cosecant is 1 over the cosine. or sorry, 1 over, the sine. Don't lie, Miss Caswell. The way that I know that I made a silly goof on that is you can only have co in each pair. So like this already has a co because it's cosecant. So that means it can't go with cosine because cosine already had a co too. That's going to sound dumb, but whatever. So this means I need to find the sine of negative 240 degrees. Okay, but negative 240 degrees is difficult. So I'm going to add 360 to that so I could find it on the unit circle. That would be the sine of 120 degrees, yeah? Yeah. So 120 degrees is on our unit circle. It's right here. And the sine of that is root 3 over 2. So the cosecant then would be root 2 over 3. Oh. Silly goose, 2 over root 3, no? Yeah. So then we're going to times it to rationalize that bottom part there, the denominator. So that turns into 2 root 3 over 3. So I'm saying the cosecant of negative 240 degrees is 2 root 3 over 3. So this is all just about referencing your unit circle and then simplifying the fractions from there. So it's not too bad.